This is a board I made that shows different kinds of materials to use on an exterior sign. There are certain things that will work in any weather for these signs. One is a Sharpie that always works. It's rain resistant. The other is spray paint. If you were to make a stencil and then use spray paint, it would be weather resistant. But just in case you don't have those things, I made this so that we can do a little weather experiment. This first one is, I used some interior exterior house paint in black. That's what that is. This next one is acrylic paint. It's a little bit of a step up from what we normally use at school. We normally use tempera paints, but this is an acrylic paint. It's meant for artists, but we're gonna see if it is weatherproof. This next one is, this is some tempera paint. I just got it's a tiny little thing from the art store, and I am pretty sure that's not gonna stand up to the rain. This next one, this blue one, I used some oil pastels, and should be kind of interesting. This one is watercolor. Now in school, we normally use a kit like this. For this one, I used an artist watercolor that comes in a small tube. So I was able to use a little bit more watercolor than I would have been able to get out of this. And I did that only for experimental purposes. This one that probably looks pink, I actually used some crayons. It doesn't show up as brightly as one of the paints, but my guess is that this is gonna also be weatherproof. The green is some markers, just a regular Crayola marker that we use. This purple is colored pencil. It actually surprisingly worked pretty well on that surface. Now down here, it's kind of difficult to see, but I wrote twice, marker, paper, glue. What I did is I took some white paper, and with just a regular Crayola marker, I wrote marker, paper, glue, and then I outlined my letters in a Sharpie, because I wanted to do two different experiments, because the main experiment is actually to see what putting paper onto the board with a regular white glue like this will look like in the rain. So I'm gonna do one little experiment, and then we're gonna take this outside. To make this experiment, what I wanna do is I wanna set this out in the rain to see what happens when a sign like this with all these different materials is introduced to the elements. But I wanna cover half of this sign in clear packing tape, because I think that is going to protect it. Any materials that I used that aren't weatherproof, I'm hoping that the tape will help protect it. So before I started this video, I got some lengths of tape, and I'm going to put it over my sign, and I'm gonna make sure that when I put each layer on that I overlap it a little bit so that there's no blank spots. And I'll just cover half of this. And then I'll leave the other half blank without any tape to keep that part exposed. So it's a lot of times in life that art and science overlap, and this is absolutely one of them. Now, I don't do this stuff just for you guys. I do this in my own studio practice when I'm trying something new, or when I'm doing something that I've never done before. I try to make little, run little experiments to see what might work best. And I think that this is exactly, I think this tape is going to exactly be the thing that I need to run it properly. So everything on this half is covered with tape. And so what I think is gonna happen is that the tape will protect this part of the board from the elements. And what I really wanna see is what happens over here with all of these different mediums to see what happens to the rain. Because if I'm going to make a sign that isn't just with Sharpie, I want to make sure that it's going to last. Before I bring this sign outside, I want to put the stake into the sign so that it can sit into my yard. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If you look at the bottom of your sign, there is a little space in between this side of the sign and this side. And these little holes are enough space for the stake to sit into. So it's going to be a little tricky just because I'm trying to do this on camera. You guys see how it sits in? And then this side, it just sort of slides in. Slightly full of effort, but nevertheless successful. Great, now it's ready to go outside. Okay, so now the sign is in my backyard, and today is Monday. I'm gonna give this sign a full day outside here in the rain. It's raining a little bit right now, and hopefully it'll rain throughout the night for this experiment to be complete. And we will check in tomorrow to see what this sign looks like. Okay, so after a night of rain, looks like there are 4 things on here that didn't do so well. Tempera paint, watercolor, Crayola marker, and the glued piece of paper, the one that says marker paper glue. It's kind of, if we look down here, you can see that doesn't look so good.